This has been an interesting weight this year. We've had Mitchell kind of blowing everybody out of the water. A lot of other tough guys in the weight. Mitchell had the one close match with Caliendo in the Big Ten final, but other than that, he's kind of separated himself. But a lot of really tough guys. We have, Bear Claw, or the top four seeds. Between the top four seeds, we have a combined total of 1, 3, 5 losses. So pretty, good records overall. What are you thinking, David?
I haven't wrestled Bear Claw before, but he's shown to have a good year. I think he only has how many losses does he have? Only 2, maybe 3. And he had a good showing. Like you said, Nessenbrink's kind of separated himself from the pack. I've wrestled him. I know he kind of brings that pace and kind of just that's how he wrestles. And so it'll be interesting. He had a closer match, like you said, with Caliendo, but other than that match, it's kind of been dominant for him this year.
Wrestling Mitchell last year in the finals, what was your mindset going into that match, just knowing how crazy his pace is and what he brings to the table?
Yeah, I had actually watched him wrestle quite a bit during the season, and obviously had a lot of hype around him with his pace and how he attacked. So I was just kind of going into the match wanting to start fast because, I don't want the match to kind of get away from me or out of hand. So I wanted to start fast. I wanted to control the top position. I just saw that as kind of area, you're wrestling a younger guy. I'm not thinking I want to ride him for as long as I did, but I want to ride him and make him work to get out just to see you get out, but I want you to work for it,
You have had, a bunch of experiences in high pressure situations, what makes the NCAA finals and that, the whole tournament, but specifically the finals, just a special experience. And what do you think has allowed you to compete well in those situations?
Yeah, I think my faith has been huge to help me stay relaxed and enjoy the moment. And I think to be able to compete well, you just kind of have to surrender the outcome and just trust and focus on the process as far as moving my hands, shooting explosive shots, trying to wrestle slick and create angles. Those are kind of my target and my things that I focus on. And so when I focus on those things rather than winning or losing, I usually like the result and I like my effort. Even if I lose, if I know I get great effort and I was offensive, then it's I always can grow and get better. So those are the kind of mindsets I had going to nationals, and I think that's why I was able to have pretty good results. But obviously there's some years that I didn't get what I wanted, but at least I knew I gave great effort.
That's good stuff. Yeah, continuing with 165. Anything else any of you guys see at the weight that you're interested in? Any guys that specifically you've watched?
It'll be interesting with I think Messenbrink's really the most proven guy in this whole weight class of the way that he's been so consistent and so dominant, and I really like that, especially in college. But Cameron being Amin at the 8 seed is kind of crazy. He hasn't had the best season. I know he transferred and he has made some improvements, and I feel like everyone knows how talented he is and how he can keep him the matches that he's going to be in are going to be tough. I know last season's match he had with Messenbrink, I don't think he's wrestled him since last year. He did kind of get controlled and dominated a little bit, but I don't know how he's going to compete here. I think that's just, I guess, an interesting one. That's not just going to be a cakewalk all the way to the finals kind of a situation for him, even though his only close match has been really that Big Ten finals against Caliendo. And then I don't know the other side. I'm trying to think of who else. Oh, I hope that obviously the Michigan bias, but I really hope Bo Montanona does well because he's young. He is he has such a high ceiling for potential, and he's kind of the next person I think that Michigan is kind of building. Him and his brother are building the program around. So I really hope he can have a big, he's going to be the next star of Michigan. So, and I mean, he came out hot. I know he just kind of had a knee thing where his conditioning isn't too great at the moment, but I mean, he came out and took Messenbrink down, and then after that, he didn't look, he kind of got, beat up. But it's good signs, I guess, from him that he can compete and he's not really scared of anybody, and he's just, he's got some developing to do. But this can be that tournament for him. That kind of reminded me of me or Miles Amin or Logan Massa our freshman year, where we kind of jumped in as freshmen and did really well, and it kind of set us up well. And I think, Bo can have that situation too. And his brother coming in next year, and then the good recruiting class comes in, and, he kind of sets the tone. So hopefully he'll have a good tournament. But I don't really see anybody beating Messenbrink, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Mock?
Yeah, I'm curious about Terrell Bearclaw. He's at UVU with, basically my former staff and coaches. You got Adam Hall was my coach while I was at State, and then you got Tim McCall, was someone who I trained a ton with, and I think those guys do a good job. And then Joey LaValle is the other assistant who was at Lehigh right before. And you guys know quite a bit about him, so I actually was curious as to how you guys think he's going to perform, him being in the room with you guys for so long and stuff like that. But I think he's had a good year, and I'm definitely interested to see how he'll perform being on the same side as Messenbrink, because I'm sure that those guys have wrestled, since they were in the room together. So, does that give an advantage? Does it not? I don't know. Because I think Messenbrink's good. Like I said, what Misha says, proven. So I think he's going to be a tough one to beat. But, yeah, what do you guys think about Bearclaw? How do you guys think he's going to do?
They're kind of similar, honestly, like in their enthusiasm and the way they approach the sport and their high pace, and both just like really good, positive dudes. So I'm kind of sad that they're on the same side, but I don't know. I think it's going to be a really exciting match, and I'm just pumped to see Terrell have success, because he had a kind of similar story to me where he was just like grinding in the room for 4 years straight, and then now he's kind of having his opportunity to shine. So I want to see them both. I'd like to see them both win a national title, but we'll see. I hope they both, at least perform to the best of their ability. I'll say that.
Yeah, definitely. I think that for Terrell, it's so tough when you're in the lineup and there's just so many good guys. He's had at his weight class just like hammer after hammer, and he's been that kid that's just been right there. And so to see him get his opportunity first off is just exciting. And I think that he's a guy that he competes super hard, and he competes the same regardless of the situation. It doesn't matter whether, you're wrestling in an off-season workout or whether it's the NCAA tournament. So he's a guy, I think that he'll just wrestle as good as he can out there. And I'm excited for that quarterfinal match between, we'll see how it works out the first few rounds, but potentially him and Julian Ramirez, because Ramirez is a guy that's very tricky, and I see that as like a big-time clash of styles. They both have great records, and but Ramirez has beat a lot of good guys, and that'll be a good opportunity, for Terrell. So we'll see like kind of what wins, the just hard nose, grind it out, straight on, single leg type guy, or the guy that can scramble, that's a little more dynamic. And the winner of that, we'll see. I think we can assume it'll be Mitchell, but that top side of that bracket is stacked between Mitchell, Amin, Ramirez, and Bearclaw, and there's a couple other guys in there as well that I'm noticing. But yeah, it looks like whoever comes out of that top side is going to have to. It's not going to be easy. They're not going to walk through that.
This tournament is so crazy, man. Like, I think about first round, Bearclaw's got Derek Fields from NC State, and he's 14-12, so his record's like, barely 50-50. But Fields in the room, like if you took wrestling skill away and you just measured athleticism, vertical, sprint speed, explosive ability, all these other aspects, it's like he's probably got higher numbers than a majority of guys in the bracket. And it's like, this is the type of tournament, it's like, obviously if you're super sound, you're going to be hard to beat. But I feel like you don't know who's going to show up and just really surprise you. You know what I mean? And I feel like these last two weights, there's just a lot of really, really good guys that just could show up and really mess the whole bracket up.
If you guys like that clip, check out the whole podcast here and make sure to hit that subscribe button.